Hello, Markee Miller here to teach you how loved ones who have passed are actually trying to communicate with you. Now, the crazy thing is that we are taught from the time we're very, very young that anything that we can't see is not real. So the chair is real, the car is real, you're real because you're standing right next to me, but we're not taught about the fact that when we lose our physical body, we actually live on. Now, I've had this gift for a long time of people coming to me after they've crossed, and I'm a hospice nurse. And 80% of the people before they pass, they see loved ones who have crossed before them or other beings in the room before they cross over, and they tell me about it. People say, how on earth, Markee, can you do that work? And I say, holy cow, I am standing at the gates of heaven. There's so much beauty and joy at that space. And if I can help somebody cross over more comfortably, what a beautiful, beautiful gift. Anyway, let's get right into how your loved ones who have passed are trying to communicate with you. So, number one, pay attention to your dreams. Again, our conscious mind usually is saying, oh no, they're not communicating with me, and we shut down any signs that maybe our loved one is trying to bring to us. So, but when we're going to sleep at night, that conscious mind is put aside. So in dreams, your loved ones can come to you and they'll give you messages, and sometimes they look young. There's all kinds of beautiful things that your loved one will tell you in a dream. So do not dismiss dreams of your loved ones. They are trying to communicate to you with that brain kind of put aside. Another way that they communicate with you is the fact that they actually talk to you. Now, this is kind of hard to put your mind around because when they talk to you, it's subliminal. So it comes across kind of like a loud voice in your head. And I'll give you an example. When I was 20, my grandfather was dying of cancer, and I wanted to be there for him and my grandmother. I wasn't even a nurse at the time, but I just felt compelled to be there. And when I got there, I spent the night, and he crossed over that night that I got there. The hospice worker came in and told me, that he had passed, and I was a little bit stunned. I just laid in bed for a little bit. And all of a sudden, these feelings of peace started coming over me, and I started hearing kind of like this loud voice in my head. This is beautiful. This is wonderful. This is so absolutely grand. And which kind of blew my mind because my grandfather was a crusty old man. He wasn't that type of person. So what I did for years and years and years is I put it aside. I didn't tell anybody. I didn't want them to think I was crazy. I just kind of kept it inside. Now, years later, I had all kinds of spiritual experiences being a nurse and was opening up anyway. But then I watched an episode of Crossing Over with John Edwards, and he's actually a medium who brings loved ones who have passed through and for people that on this earth plane. And much to my surprise, he described how he heard people coming through from the other side, and it was very similar to the way I heard it. So it's loud voices in your head. And I'll give you another example. My friend of mine, his son had died, and he was rather young. And his son came to me and he said, you need to contact my dad. You need to let him know I'm okay. I'm in the light. And I said, nope, I'm not going to do that. Your dad's going to think I'm crazy. I'm not calling him and telling him that at all. And so he kept bugging me. Every single day I'd hear, you need to call my dad. It's not all about you, Markee. You need to call my dad and let him know I'm okay. So finally I gave in and I called his dad and I said, your son's been coming through and he's doing wonderful. He's in the light. I feel so much joy when he comes to me. But I didn't really want to tell you, but he kept saying, it's not all about you, Sherry. You need to call. And at that point, I heard dead silence on the other end of the phone. And I said, what? And he said, you know what? That's exactly what my son would say all the time. It's not all about you. So I can give you all kinds of other examples, but be listening to these voices that kind of come into your head and kind of repeat things over and over again, because definitely somebody is trying to contact you. So do not dismiss it. Another way is you feel their presence. I mean, a lot of times, when the busyness of the day kind of calms down and you're a little bit quieter. I remember my dad, after he had passed, he came to me and I would feel almost like, I don't know, this loving presence, and kind of like the hair on the back of my neck would stand up, and I could just feel his presence. So whenever you think you're feeling your loved one's presence, they are there. They're trying to get through to you. Please, please, please. Don't dismiss these things. They're your loved ones telling you they're okay and that they're waiting for you on the other side. And, they're just trying to get through to you that this is not the end. When the physical vehicle is gone, it is not the end. Beautiful, beautiful things. So please don't dismiss that. They mess with your electronics. Holy cow. My daughter-in-law, her sister, recently passed, and my fire alarm started going off, and it would chirp at different times during the day and night, and I was in a very small apartment, so it would wake me up at all times of the night. I wasn't getting any sleep. And the other weird thing that happened is that the light bulb had burned out now in the front of my door, and I had not replaced that yet. But again, I'm always hesitant to tell people, hey, your loved one is contacting me, and I had, felt her sister's presence for a while. And finally, though, what happened is that she just bugged me enough. I called up my daughter-in-law and said, hey, could you please tell your sis to kind of knock it off with the fire alarm, because I can't sleep at night. Just tell her that she's there, she's coming through. Oftentimes they come through me because I'm a little bit more open, so please tell her that so I can get some sleep. So that night she, talked to her sister, who's was in that other realm, and said, I know you're here and we love you, and I understand that you're coming through. Can you kind of knock off the stuff for Markee so she can sleep? Now, the very next day, I did hear 2 more chirps, and then it completely stopped. The other weird thing that happened is that my light came back on. My outside light that I thought had burned out, it actually came back on by itself and hadn't replaced the bulbs. Another thing she would do was turn on and off my TV. So I've had that happen plenty of times. So please, for some reason, I don't know how, they can get through to your electronics. And I've heard, in fact, my daughter-in-law said that her sister would come through and do different messages on her phone that just absolutely couldn't be explained. So it had to be her. So very, very important. Don't ignore these signs. A lot of times people will smell things after somebody passes. So when my grandfather passed, I smelled his pipe. I would get whiffs of this pipe that was very distinct, sweet tobacco odor. And I knew that was him. Other people say that, females, they can smell, who have crossed over, they can smell their perfume, things of that nature. So don't disregard that either. I do know some people who actually physically see visions of their loved ones who have passed. I've never seen that. That's not happened to me. And of course, when you see that, it's absolutely, you can't deny that. But so don't deny some of these other things just because you're not seeing that vision. So, another thing is they make noises. So my dad, interestingly enough, I didn't realize he was going to die when he did, but one night I woke up, it woke me up out of a dead sleep, and I heard on my wall. And growing up kind of with this gift, I've always heard weird things, so I didn't get too freaked out. I rolled over and went back to sleep. Well, the next day I got the call that my dad had passed away, and he had passed away something like, 1 o'clock in the morning, and I heard this like at 5 o'clock in the morning, so 2, 3, or 4 o'clock in the morning. So I thought, that couldn't have been him. And then it dawned on me later on that day that, the time change. There's a 3-hour time change. That noise that woke me up was the exact time that he passed away in California. So noises, bumps, things like that. Sometimes it's a little bit creepy, these things that are happening. It scares you a little bit, but please don't be afraid. These are just your loved ones coming through and trying to tell you that they are still here. So I want to be a part of your grand opening. Open up to the fact that there's things that we just don't understand, that we can't see. Open up to the fact that there's this beautiful realm that we can't see, the spiritual realm that's really pretty awesome, and so many beautiful, wonderful things can come through to you. So, and your loved ones can communicate with you. So please, I'm just asking you, be open. So I wanted to tell you that I have many, many more stories, being a hospice nurse and having this gift, that are wonderful, that absolutely kind of show you that there is a life after life, which is really pretty incredible. The other thing that I do is actually do coaching. So if you've had somebody who has crossed over recently or crossed over a while ago, and maybe you're feeling some weird presences or hearing some weird things, you just don't know what to make of it, you're grieving, you don't know what to do, I can help. I offer my coaching services. So down at the bottom, you can see my link, www.markeemiller.com. So I do that also with my extensive hospice services. If you have somebody that is in the process of crossing over, I can be a really good resource and guide for you. So, if you're not sure whether it's time to call hospice or not, or if hospice is already there, there's certain things that happen. In fact, before somebody crosses over, they straddle both worlds. Again, I'll be uploading more videos about that and teaching you guys that there is life after life, and your loved ones who have passed will be coming to tell you they're here. They're here. So please be open. Much love to you. Subscribe to my channel, and I'll be uploading more videos that are inspiring and uplifting. Thanks so much for joining.